Welcome to episode 3 of the Dreaming Language Reveal. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the importance of location in dreams. But before we get to that point, I would like to give you a breakdown of the syntax of the dreaming language using the following example. Imagine your partner wakes you up at around 5 in the morning and declares, "We're at war." You're going to wake up and say, "What?" And your partner will repeat, "We've been attacked by North Korea." So your next question will be, when? Because you're going to think, I went to bed at around midnight last night and we were not at war then. So when did this happen? Did it happen 5 minutes ago? Did it happen an hour ago? And so you'd want to know when it happened so you could plan. And the next question will be, where is this war happening? Because you're listening, you couldn't hear any gunshots, you couldn't hear any bombs going off in the distance. So you want to know where. And then your partner might say, "Oh, they attacked Darwin, or they attacked Sydney Harbour, or they attacked somewhere in South Australia." And based on this response, you start thinking, what is your Australian government going to do about this? You see, because the location is important in determining what the government is going to do about this attack. Are they going to defend Australia, or are they going to mount a counter-attack? All of this will depend on what sort of assets and resources are available to the government. And the next question is, what is the government's objective based on their action? Are they trying to defend Australia by getting rid of all the North Korean troops that have invaded? Or are they going to mount a counter-attack and try and dissuade the North Koreans from further incursions into Australia? So the actions of the Australian government will depend on where in Australia it's been attacked. Similarly, in the body, the location in the dream determines how the body will respond and what it hopes to achieve. And we could use this real-life example of the Middle East War, or the war in the Middle East. Most people would not have heard of the word Strait of Hormuz before this war. It's such a small and insignificant spot compared to the rest of the world, yet a war in that area has caused a headache for the rest of the world. And the actions that will be taken in this war and what can be achieved in this war is going to be limited, as opposed to if this war had taken place in, say, South America or somewhere in North Africa, for example. So the location is very important in the dream as well. And that also determines how the body will respond to the information it's receiving about that location or whatever is happening with that location. So every dream asks a similar question. What is happening, which is the subject? When is it happening, which is the time? Where is it happening, which is the location? What is the body doing about it, which is a verb or an action? And what does the body hope to achieve by this, which is the objective? So the dreaming language syntax can be broken down into subject, time, location, verb or action, and objective. And it's the same questions we ask ourselves every single day we get any information. What is happening? When does it happen? Where is it happening? What is the government going to do about it? What sort of actions are being taken? And what sort of objectives are they hoping to achieve with these actions? In terms of dreaming and being able to recall our dreams, also our actions are going to be based on the location of our dreams, or the locations in our dreams. Take, for example, if somebody dreams that they're in a forest and they're being bitten by a snake in the forest, and they wake up from that dream, what this dream is saying is that the forest location usually means the liver, and the snake usually corresponds to toxins. So the dream is simply saying that the liver was exposed to some toxins, and you're going to wake up and think, "Oh, it's because of the alcohol I had, I had too much alcohol." So you think, maybe I should stop drinking for a while, or I could go for a liver detox, I could buy some liver detox herbs, etc. So there are so many different options to take to address that problem. And your objective is to have a healthier functioning liver based on your actions. Whereas In this other example, which is a dream that was told by a patient, he saw himself crossing over a pedestrian crossing across a busy highway. And he said he crossed the pedestrian crossing, got down the steps, and then soon after getting down to the other side of the highway, he found a sack of money. He said always on his right hand side of the highway. And then he kept his sack of money. And he had this dream on several occasions, and he wanted to know. And based on his dream, the pedestrian crossing over a busy highway suggests that the problem is in his prostate. And the sack of money suggested that he's got like a tumor or growth in the prostate. So I suggested that the patient go and have some scans done. And yes, they discovered that he's got a lump in the prostate which was going to be examined to see whether it's cancerous. But based on the location that was suggested in the dream, the pedestrian crossing over a busy highway, which suggests a prostate gland, it just means that he couldn't just say, okay, I'm going to just drink some more water, do a liver detox, because the prostate gland could cause so many other issues, and it's not as easily repaired as the liver could be. So that's why it's important to address a problem differently based on the location that's been suggested in the dream. In my dreaming language book, we do have different locations and which organs they correspond to. And it also breaks down dreams into their corresponding syntax. I've got this dreaming language book that will give you all the information you need about your dreams, and it has the map to all the locations for your body and their corresponding icons or images that represent those different parts of the body. So you have all the information you need to be able to determine what you need to do when you have certain dreams. Subscribe to this channel and keep learning about how you could use this information to stay healthy and to stay on top of things. Thank you and enjoy your evening.